In this modern day and time, are we chasing goose's tail? Are we chasing the goose's tail? Meaning, are we just chasing something that leads nowhere? When you think about the world in general, the modern day world, are we going nowhere? Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, people all over the world, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the immaculate tortoise, the half man, half tortoise, the African tortoise, that unknown tortoise. Before I can go any further, I need to ask you a very important question. Can you hit that subscribe button? Your support is very much wanted and appreciated on this channel. Of course, we're trying to grow this channel, but we need your support. So if you hit that subscribe button, we can carry on doing this. But of course, we enjoy doing this because we're trying to understand ourselves and we're trying to understand the world in general, because we are living in a modern day time where everything is fast paced, and there is a sense of a lack of understanding of what's going on amongst ourselves, what's going on in spirituality. So we must have these discussions, and of course YouTube, the Immaculate Tortoise channel, is one of the places for that. So hit that subscribe button and help us grow that channel. Of course, we need your support. With that said and done, are we chasing the goose's tail? Are we going nowhere? Are we going around in circles, ladies and gentlemen? Before we can answer that question, you must first ask, what does it mean when somebody says you're chasing the goose's tail? It means you're going nowhere, pretty much. What is a goose? A goose is a bird. A goose is an animal that lives by the side of the river or a lake or some sort. But it's a giant bird, a huge, giant, beautiful bird. It lives at the surface of near the river bank. It lives on the river bank or near the river bank, and they build their nests right next to the river bank, and they spend the majority of their time floating on lakes or floating on the surface of the river. And they can fly, of course, but the majority of the time is spent floating on the surface of a river or lake. And they're very ferocious animals. They're not ferocious. They're just very protective of themselves. If you enter their that personal space, of course they will charge at you. Now, when somebody says to you, "Are you chasing the goose's tail?" Meaning, are you trying to chase? It's just the same. It's a metaphor. Are you chasing something that leads nowhere? Are you just going around in circles? Are you going around in circles? First and foremost, when somebody says that this person is chasing the goose's tail, there are certain factors that you must understand about people. Because again, we will find ourselves in situations where we are doing something and we're not aware of it. One of these factors is our human nature. Human nature is it can be blinding sometimes, because you think you're doing something that's worth a lot of time and effort. By natural fact, it's going nowhere. It's the greedy nature behind us. We will pursue something for endless amounts of time, endless amounts of effort. But in the long run, because we cannot see, we're human beings. We're not the best at looking far into the future. We're not the best at doing that. And we can do this. We can pursue something for a long time with a lot of effort, and only realize that it's going nowhere. It's that nature, and also the sense of what word is this? What word is this? Again, the word has just slipped my mind. Guys, I've just woken up, so you're gonna have to bear with me because the mind is still waking up. I had this stuff thought about before, but when it comes to this, especially when you're under pressure, it seems to just disappear. But then it comes back. But one reason why somebody would chase a goose's tail is because of our greediness, the greedy nature of a human being. And also another one is the lack of understanding of a human nature. That's the word I was looking for. The lack of understanding. Sometimes we just do not understand that something leads nowhere. See, an example would be money. Money is cool. I'm not knocking money. Money is all right, but again, money just measures your ability to be. Money is a measurement of intelligence. If you're an intelligent person, you should be sound for money. You should have a decent amount of money to sustain you. Money is just there to sustain you. It's not something physical that's gonna, something that's it's not something that should represent you, but it should be there. It should be something that should should be able to sustain you in life, because you need the money to acquire certain things in life. But you must have that money. And this is the notion where I said the blindness can lead you to think that money is the pinnacle of success, but in actual fact it's not. So two factors why human beings would be chasing the goose's tail would be: the first one is just the human nature. We are greedy. We think we want everything for ourselves. It's just the human nature. Every single one of us has this greedy nature within us. And the next one would be just blind. We're not fully able to see and understand. We will pursue something, but not see that it should not be the end objective of what it is that we are trying to achieve at the end of the day. So that's the same when somebody says you're chasing the goose's tail. Again, the question was, are we chasing the goose's tail? And the two factors for me would be: when somebody's chasing the goose's tail, you have the human psyche, the human psychology behind it, the human characteristics, the human behavior. The first one would be, of course, being blind, not really understanding and seeing what we're doing. The next one would be being greedy, of course. Three examples of chasing the goose's tail would be: the first one would be money. Of course, I've mentioned money already. Somebody chasing a large amount of money. Of course, you attain that money, and with money comes a lot of power. But at the end of the day, you can't take that money with you when you pass on. Money is not the measurement of intelligence, but the measurement of understanding of economy, understanding of businesses and whatnot. Somebody who understands the economy, somebody who understands the economic needs and the business world will have a large amount of money. And the second example would be a dead end job. You've been working this job for 50 years or 40 years or 30 years, 20 years or 10 years, and it just hasn't got you anywhere. That's another example of just dead end job. I mean, that's another example of chasing the goose's tail. At some point, one must think, well, it's time to pack this in and move on and find a different type of means of making a living. If the job is not getting you anywhere, then just move on. Don't just keep going there for the sake of it. Some people go to a job because they have good relationships with people, but again, you want to keep climbing up the hierarchy. You want to climb up the ladder, so you've got to move out of the dead end job. And the third example would be in a relationship. Chasing some relationship that's going nowhere. It's just common sense. But again, this is what I said to you. Human beings, sometimes we are greedy and sometimes we are blind. We are blinded by our emotions and not seeing that this is not going anywhere. We are just caught up in that moment. It's back to the human nature. When somebody says you are chasing the goose's tail, it's all to do with the human nature. You're falling into the abyss. You become an airhead. You become a featherbrain and not really understanding why you are doing that. Why you are chasing this relationship that's going nowhere. But again, blindness and just egoistic leads to such thing. And that goes down, and that's a good segue for me to give an example of myself. As I chased a relationship in my younger days, when I was a younger man. Right now I'm 33 years old. I chased a relationship that went nowhere. It was just a waste of time. And because I wasted so much time and effort, I've got all of these memories, these worthless memories that just keep coming back into my mind every now and then. So that's the result of chasing the goose's tail. I've got to deal with these memories. Excuse me, guys. I've got allergies, so my nose is a bit stuffy. But I've got to deal with I've got to deal with these horrible memories of chasing a relationship that goes nowhere. So again, to finish off the conversation, chasing the goose's tail, meaning you are going nowhere. You're going down a dead end. You're going around in circles. You're going around in a revolving door. You're going around a merry-go-round. And two factors are human psychology, greediness, and not having a good understanding of why you're chasing what it is. Examples being money, the next one being a dead end job, and the third one being a relationship. With that said and done, guys, if you're going through difficult times, if you come across, if you hit rock bottom, if you're chasing a goose's tail, the first thing you should do is pray. Prayer guides you. It gives you a good direction to follow. It allows you to heal. It allows you to release the meditation, the tension from the body, and it connects you to God. It connects you to nature, but it connects you to God. Peace out. Have a good day.